Welcome back to Mastering Menopause. If you have ever thought, I'm barely eating, I'm saying no to dessert, I'm skipping breakfast, I'm eating salads, and I'm working out more than ever, yet the scale hasn't moved in months or even years, then this episode is for you. Because one of the most common things that I hear from women who come to me frustrated with their weight is, I just don't understand. I'm hardly eating anything. And then usually somebody in their life will say things like, you probably need to eat more. Maybe it's their husband, maybe it's their daughter, maybe it's another coach. And you have that friend that can eat whatever she wants. For this episode, we are going to get into the nitty-gritty about what's going on. Because if you are not eating, because if you're barely eating, then you're going to have to eat more calories. And you're probably saying, absolutely not. There is no way that eating more calories is going to help me lose weight. And I get it. I totally do. Because we've been taught for decades that weight loss means eating less, exercising more, and having more willpower. But the very thing that you're doing to lose weight just stops working in menopause and is actually one of the reasons that you're stuck. Today, we're talking about maintenance calories and why this is the missing piece in weight loss during menopause. Now, let's just think for a second, right? How long have you been dieting? For many women listening, it's not months, it's decades. Between Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, low-fat, keto, intermittent fasting, the shakes, the counting the points, detoxes, Optavia, any kind of program. And every time that weight loss has slowed down, what was the answer? To eat less or to cut more or to try harder. And then you get to a point where you're already eating very little. Now what? Because you cannot white knuckle your way through 1,000 calories or 1,200 calories forever. This is where so many women find themselves in menopause. They're exhausted, they're frustrated, they're burnt out, and they're just wondering why all the things that used to work don't work anymore, even though it worked so well for us in our 30s and our early 40s. And then they just throw up their hands and quit because honestly, you cannot stay in that cycle. And then that leads to where they aren't consistently eating 1,200 calories every day. And so the pattern that I most often see is we're under eating Monday through Thursday. This was me, classic, trying to be good all week, and then Friday night hits, right? A little wine, a few snacks, some dinner out over the weekend, and then we start over again every single Monday. It's that binge and restrict cycle that we go through every single week. So you're spending most of your week dieting, and then you have yourself a weekend, and then you're back to square one. And so this is the cycle that we need to get out of. And we can do that by increasing your calories intentionally with the reverse diet, because we have got to get your metabolism up and running. And one of the biggest surprises that women have when they first start working with us is that we don't start in a deficit. In fact, most women start somewhere between 1,900 and 2,100 calories. And yes, they're terrified, of course. I talked to one of our recent clients. She's 141 pounds. She wants to get to 130. And she has been stuck at 141 for years. So I explained the concept of increasing her calories first before we could go into a fat loss phase. And she had heard me talking about doing like a 2-week rapid fat loss. She's like, that's what I want to do. And I said, we can't start you there. We have got to do this first because that is not going to work until we do this. And so when I told her what her starting calories were, and she just looked at me and she said, there's like absolutely no way. She's like, I am going to gain so much weight if I eat 2,000 calories. I understand exactly where she was coming from, because when you spent years fighting the scale, just the thought of seeing it go up can be absolutely terrifying. But if we don't increase your calories, we can't get you out of the hole that your metabolism is in. And so what we do is we want to increase your calories intentionally. And when we do that, several things are going to happen. First thing that we do is we get your protein up, make sure that that is in an appropriate level. She was pretty good, but she wasn't where she needed to be. She was only getting between 100 and 110 grams of protein per day. So we upped that for her. We upped her carbohydrates as well. And usually it's around like 200 grams of carbs. People are like, oh my God, how am I supposed to get that many carbs? And so we walk them through that process. I help support them with all of that. We also will see energy improve. We will see workouts getting better. And then we see those cravings go down, because guess what? Now you're not in this deficit. You're not having these cravings anymore. You start to feel like you're not constantly fighting yourself. You're not constantly fighting against the hunger and the cravings and having no energy. And then fat loss also happens before we even have gone into an intentional diet. One of my clients, Denise, she actually lost 3 pounds during her maintenance phase. Now, that is not typical, okay? But it does happen, and the body does release fat. Once the body gets what it needs from you, both energy-wise with the calories and also nutrient-wise in the calories that you haven't been giving it, then your metabolism gets switched back on. Now the body's running optimally. It's burning more calories, and it releases the fat that it no longer needs. That fat that's been sitting there around your waist that's driving you crazy. And I know it sounds backwards, but it absolutely works. So let's talk about the thing that you're probably thinking. If I eat more calories, then I'm just going to gain weight. And you know what? The scale is going to go up. It actually has to. But before you panic, it is not fat gain. When you increase your carbohydrates, so say you're eating like maybe 100 grams of carbs. If we bump you up to 200 grams of carbs, it's going to pull water into your muscles. Your body stores glycogen, and so glycogen is stored in your muscles. It's going to pull water into the muscles. Your muscles are going to become fuller. You're going to have more energy. Your recovery is going to improve. Your sleep is going to improve. And yes, the scale is going to go up. It should go up anywhere from 1 to 3 pounds, like within the first 4 days. You didn't suddenly gain fat. You just filled up your gas tank. Water weight and body fat are not the same thing. And I wish that more women understood that and not being so reactive to when the scale goes up. So to actually gain 1 pound of fat, you would need 3,500 calories above maintenance, not 3,500 calories total. That's 3,500 calories over, say, 2,000 calories. For my clients, or ladies who are afraid to eat over 1,500 calories, I doubt that they are eating 5,000 calories. It's actually impossible. So this is all water weight. And so I encourage my clients to make sure that they're drinking plenty of water so that we have that spillover effect. So it goes up and then it comes down. And this is what we see across the board with all clients. But I get it. Suddenly gaining weight on the scale because you increase your calories to maintenance can be daunting when you don't understand what's actually going on. If you equated that to fat gain, then yes, I would run for the hills as well. But it is not what's happening. And so what happens when we take starting measurements on day 1, and then a week later, we see measurements going down, and we see those steadily decreasing each week. So even though there is a weight gain on the scale, and hey, you could hold on to anywhere from 1 to 3 pounds, but most often it's going to fluctuate throughout as you're going through maintenance, because some days you're just going to have more carbs than others. It's more related to sodium as far as seeing those spikes on the scale. But I get it, right? The fear is very valid, but still the physiology of what is happening to your body when you are eating maintenance calories that's what matters the most. So if you've been stuck at the same weight despite eating less and trying harder, then what I want you to consider is maybe the answer isn't another diet. Maybe the answer is building your foundation first, getting that metabolism up and running, learning what maintenance actually looks like, and fueling your body appropriately. This is going to get you out of this binge and restrict cycle, and then understanding that eating more strategically is absolutely necessary. It is not a step backwards. It is how you are going to get the body that you want. It's the thing that's going to finally have you moving forward, because the goal isn't to eat as little as possible for the rest of your life. I absolutely hope not. The goal is to lose weight in a way that you can actually sustain, with the bigger goal being able to maintain that weight on a higher amount of calories. I know that was a bit to take in. On the next episode, we're going to take this conversation a step further. I'm going to tell you what exactly is reverse dieting, who actually needs it, who doesn't need a reverse diet, and help you understand how to use a reverse diet. I'll tell you how we use it inside our coaching program to help women finally break through the years of frustration of not seeing that scale move or even seeing it increase. So make sure to look out for that episode because we're going to be diving into all of that in part 2. If you know somebody that is in this situation as well, then please share this episode with them. I would highly appreciate that. And also, if you have a minute, if you could give me a review on the Mastering Menopause podcast, that would be amazing. This is how I can get the message out to more women that need to hear this information. I hope that you have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.